fourth of the 5 cardinal programs of the administration of Senator Ebukule Amosun in Ogun State is housing and urban renewal. The commitment and the intensification of the efforts of the administration is unwavering, as the government has continued to empower the Ministry of Housing and its agencies in order to consolidate and maximize the potentials in the housing sector of the state. On this note, the Ministry of Housing through the Ogun Property and Investment Corporation (OPIC), as well as the Ogun State Housing Corporation, is working towards redefining the landscape and the beautification of Ogun State through provision of affordable housing units for the people of the state. These efforts have started yielding results. As of today, aside the completion of all the housing projects met on ground, various new housing projects are at present going on in different parts of the state. The Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation (OPIC) is one of the agencies through which these achievements are being recorded. Founded about 30 years ago with the sole aim of expanding the frontiers of development in Ogun State, OPIC was created to function like any other private organization so as to create a revenue source for the Gateway State. In order to restore the glory of the Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation in the realization of the vision of this administration to rebuild the Gateway State, the government of Senator Ebukule Amosun took the bold step of restructuring the corporation by giving it a new and focused leadership. This invariably formed the foundation for the repositioning process towards changing the face and the landscape of the state for good.
With the advent of the current administration of Senator Ebukule Amosun FCA, he has literally gone back to that same blueprint, the blueprint that made us great. And that's why we talk about mission to rebuild, because it's all about restoring Ogun State to the greatness that we lost. And in going back to that same blueprint, you can't go to that blueprint without using things like OPIC. Because so many years ago, our forefathers realized that, look, you cannot do this as government alone. And that's why they set up an OPIC. And now what he has done is to also go back to that same blueprint and then restore OPIC to the strength and the capacity it once had to be a driver for growth.
In realization of this administration's commitment to provide affordable housing for its people, OPIC, after its repositioning, commenced the construction of some housing units in the state. At present, work is ongoing at the River Valley Estate, Obasanjo Hilltop, New Makum City, Shagamu, as well as Agbara Industrial Estate. No doubt that the promise of this administration to change the face of Ogun State for good through its urban renewal program is manifesting, as work have reached commendable stages at some of these sites. In Agbara Industrial Estate, OPIC is going beyond construction of new housing units. What this administration met on ground at the initial stage in terms of development in most of these industrial locations where major business transactions take place was not much to celebrate. The state of infrastructural decay was at its peak as roads were not motorable. In order to ensure an all-inclusive development of a place like the OPIC Industrial Estate in Agbara as one of the economic enclaves of the state, the management of OPIC under this administration held series of interactive sessions with the major stakeholders in this area. Among them were the industrialists, the members of resident associations of OPIC, community leaders, as well as other residents in the area. These interactive sessions focus on three major issues: road infrastructure improvements, renewal committee, encroachment on lands, and other challenges. With this, the management team of OPIC embarked on an inspection tour to some residential quarters, roads, and areas encroached upon within the estate.
You have a mark on that wall that says this is an illegal structure. You were served a notice to stop work, and you guys are rushing it and continuing. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Decide. Am I going to get you arrested now, or you're going to leave with your people? See, we good as say now they do take land where no belong to now. We good? We no good now. Now we want make government do hospital for now. Now we want make government do road for now. Now we want make that Peking get school. How money go come?
A lot of irregularities and illegal dealings were observed during its numerous visits to the place. Among them is the encroachment into government lands, as well as the building of houses mostly not in conformity with the plan and the architectural design of the estate.
There have been irregularities in the past and there have been challenges in the past, but what we've been doing for the last 1 month is to put a new structure in place that corrects all of those ills. I can assure you that those have been done. The next step is internally we're doing a lot of retraining exercise. We're changing the mindset, the working mindset of our people to know that there's a value to be gained from being an excellent worker. Of course, the third step is then we're now putting in place a leadership team, especially in Agbara itself, that exists to ensure that we meet all the set objectives and targets we have set for ourselves.
The OPIC officials always ensure strict compliance and make sure that the laws of the state are obeyed. The Managing Director of OPIC, Honorable Babajide Odusholu, further speaks on how the corporation has been contributing towards the realization of the mission of this administration to rebuild the Gateway State.
There's been a gap. There have been lapses. What we want to do is correct those lapses, improve what is on site to make it up to the Ogun standard, and then be able to attract more investors into the community. It's going to take a long process. It's not something you're going to do overnight. It's not something you can just get done in 6 months. It's not. It takes longer than that. But our commitment is to start properly, and like you've seen today, the various meetings we'll be having is to engage our subscribers, engage our investors, engage even the communities, to involve them in the process to ensure that we can come up with the end product that everybody's proud of.
The pragmatic management team of OPIC promised to turn things around and transform the Agbara industrial estate within the period of 6 months. This is what makes the management to ensure that all hands are on deck to facilitate the mission to rebuild agenda of Ibikunle Amoson's administration.
There are things to be addressed. There are infrastructures to be fixed. There are roads to be maintained. There are roads to be opened up. You know, if you say an estate, there are some things that must be there as standard. And so these things are lacking for now. And so for the mission to rebuild Ogun State to be complete, it must come to OPIC Estate Agbara. And that is what is happening today. We have all seen, we have gone round, we have done site inspection, and we have noted those areas that must be fixed. And I can assure you that in the next 6 months, you will see a great difference.
True to its promise, in less than the slated period, many developmental projects are seen going on in Agbara Industrial Estate. These include roads construction and rehabilitations, construction of housing units, repositioning the electricity poles for constant power supply, as well as redesigning of the entire master plan of the estate. These roads under construction are being made in such a way as to withstand heavy load. This is due to the fact that heavy-duty trucks and trailers also ply them on daily basis for movement of raw materials as well as goods and services. The Managing Director of OPIC, who is also the Special Advisor to the Governor on Property and Investment, Honorable Babajide Odusholu, speaks on the level of projects the government is carrying out presently in the OPIC Industrial Estate, Agbara.
What the government has done, has mandated us to do in OPIC, is to begin to repair all the roads and build new ones in Agbara. So as we speak, we are currently building over 10 kilometers of road in Agbara Estate itself, and that's just the first stage. As we build up these roads, and we're talking industrial grade roads, the same Ogun standard roads that you see in the rest of the states, well, that's what we're putting in our estates, so that it can increase the value of those estates. Simultaneously, we're opening up new districts. I mean, this month, we'll also see when we go to site, we're opening up a new 50-hectare area that's meant to deliver 450 residential lots, along with another area that's going to deliver about 40 hectares of new industrial land.
All these efforts of the state government towards making this industrial and commercial environment a conducive place for investors as well as those who come to transact business in the state is to further boost the economic potentials of the state. This is what makes other concerned ministries and agencies to visit the estate to observe what is on ground. Subsequently, each of them make the necessary inputs towards the transformation process. The Commissioner for Commerce and Industry in Ogun State, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, speaks on the unprecedented transformation this administration has brought to the Agbara Industrial Estate.
But what I found out is that even the industrialists, they didn't believe that the government will do something for them. They didn't believe in the government because they have been disappointed in the past. But they failed to realize that this is a government that walked the talk. So when we had the next meeting, and luckily the new head of OPIC came in, the special advisor OPIC, and we had another stakeholders meetings, and we promised them there that, look, government will put in some amount, you should put in some amount, and we all agreed. And that is the story we are seeing today.
He further emphasized on the way all ministries and agencies of Ogun State government work together under this administration, all tailored towards the same common goal of rebuilding the state.
We all work together. We are like a whole body. So you cannot cut one off. It will not be functioning. So you will see that my colleague in OPIC, we work. I mean, if I don't bring customers to buy land, how would OPIC do business? If OPIC doesn't bring sort out the industrialists, how will they be happy? So we work as a team.
The Ogun State government, under the leadership of Senator Bukule Amosun, is working assiduously with the firm belief that by the time some of these projects are completed, the gateway state will be transformed. The people of Ogun State believe that they have every reason to support and embrace the different laudable projects of the Senator Bukule Amosun-led administration. This is why some of them express their joy and appreciations to the government for making another landmark in the mission to rebuild projects of this administration.
They've started with the roads. We are happy about that. Then we will try and cooperate with them to make sure that that is sorted out. Then we can take another thing like water, like drainages and all those things.
But irú ilé tó ń kọ́ iná nísìn fún àǹfààní àwọn èèyàn ni ẹni bá ní agbára láti wá bóyá san díẹ̀ náà máa gbé fún anybody náà á tún gbà anybody á máa gbádùn. So Ìbíkúnlé Amosun nǹkan tó ń ṣe inú wa dùn wọn sí o. So ẹni bá ní kò dùn mọ́ òun nù bóyá onítọ̀hún ò jáde nílé bóyá inú ilé ló wà tí ò jáde Ọlọ́run máa ń ṣe wá Ọlọ́run máa yẹ kára rẹ̀ àwọn ọ̀rá rẹ̀ o. So à ń jáde adẹ̀ níbi nǹkan tó ń ṣe lọ́tún lósì Ọlọ́run àtúmọ̀ máa gbé wọn ròkè o.
Actually, there is nothing much to say than the word mission to rebuild. That mission to rebuild has said it all. Then if you gaze throughout the Ogun State, then you'd have known that the government of the present really had a lot in stock for the state. I quite appreciate that we're part of the mission to rebuild.
Nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ni wípé Ìbíkúnlé Amosun
Senator Ìbíkúnlé Amosun bàbá wa ní gbogbo Ogun State báyìí nsìn kọ́lọ́n bolódùmarè kó jẹ́ kó rẹrù náà pẹ́ kó dẹ̀ máa ṣiṣẹ́ ṣóyè nsìn àdúrà tiwa nìyẹn àdúrà tiwa ni pé second time kó ṣe kó lè ráyè ṣe gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó bá ṣe pé third time ṣe é ṣe gan àwa bá gbàdúrà ẹ̀ kó lè ráyè ṣe gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe kó yanjú ẹ̀.
The governor of Ogun State, Senator Bikule Amosun, has been commended for creating an enabling environment for business to thrive in Ogun State. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, gave the commendation at the commissioning of Procter & Gamble plant in Agbara industrial area of Ogun State on Thursday, 13th of March 2014. The President, who was represented at the occasion by the Vice President, Architect Nemo Disambo, said this gesture will boost Ogun State revenue generation capacity and impact positively on the lives of the residents of the communities around the area. The President used the occasion to further pledge the willingness of the federal government to continue to cooperate with Ogun State government in its drives to promote industrialization for development.
I would like to thank the good people of Ogun State, the Royal Fathers, community leaders, and our special appreciation to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ogun State, Senator Amosun, and the entire Ogun State government for providing a conducive environment for business to strive in the state. Thank you very much. I would like to also especially appreciate your continued cooperation with the security agencies as the Chief Security Officer of the state in achieving security for life and property of all citizens in the state.
He also spoke on the intention of the federal government to carry out some developmental projects within the state.
In Ogun State, we are developing additional power transmission system and building several injection substations, as well as investing in the development